Good afternoon. My name is Lauren David and I'm a ninth generation sheep and beef farmer from South Wales. Today, myself and Karl will be talking about our challenges of entering the agricultural industry, from myself being a ninth generation to Karl being a first-time generation. To start, both myself and Karl will give a short introduction into our backgrounds, followed by a live question and answer session, which, if anyone has any questions, please do not hesitate to ask. I was born on a family farm in 2001 at one of the most stressful times of my parents' life, during the foot and mouth disease. Being brought up on a family farm, I had a passion for agriculture from day one. However, it's not always been an easy introduction or entry into the agricultural industry. I'm the first female to be born onto the farm for 90 years, which has come at both challenges and successes. I'm currently in the University of Reading studying agriculture business management, where I hope to become an agricultural consultant in the future. To give a background of the family farm, we farm in the Vale of Glamorgan, as one of the most southernest points in Wales, most famously known for where Gavin and Stacey is filmed. The overall size of our farm is 450 acres, which is a combination of 250 owned acres and 200 acres of rented land. In 1887, my great-grandmother was given the farm, which has been passed down the generations ever since. Currently on the farm, we have 3 generations farming: my grandfather, my dad, my brother, and myself. We lamb about 400 breeding ewes, which we lamb during March and April time, followed with 1,000 stall lambs, which we fatten, and 100 beef cattle. All the animals reared on our farm are sold direct to the general public, to restaurants and supermarkets in the South Wales area. In 2013, my brother started selling lambs to teachers in school, which gave him the idea of selling direct to the general public. This is where the brand Togethley Farm Lamb was created. Shortly after, I joined the business, which we now sell to Michelin-starred restaurants and pubs in our area. In 2018, we started supplying a local supermarket in the South Wales area, which we roughly send about 20 lambs a week to them. In total, across the year, we'll sell about 700 to 800 lambs, which is amazing for us because we can cut out the middle person and achieve premium prices. Our main marketing method for our lamb direct sales is through our Facebook page and our online website, which has been an amazing success during the current pandemic. In 2018, the farm set up a Himalayan salt chamber. This is where we dry age all our own beef, which we create a unique selling point with the dry aging through adding value to our current product range. The beef is mainly sold to high-end retailers, which is sold to high-end retail outlets and to restaurants in South Wales. So the Himalayan salt acts as a moisture remover. So in our fridges, there's a lot of moisture in the conditions, which with the salt wool, it removes the moisture, which allows it for a more tender and more flavoursome piece of meat. Moving on to Karl, he'll be talking about his background with this video.
Hi, my name is Karl, as you know, and I am a first generation small-scale sheep farmer. I run around 70 acres of farmland, of grassland. Quite a lot of that turned into hay during the summer. So I have contractors in and I do a bit myself. It's all turned into small conventional bales, and I then store it up and I sell it for the equine industry come the winter. I made around 900 bales this year. Crop was low, but I hope to be a better production of hay next year. Along with that, I also run a flock of 42 shearlings of this year, So I only brought them back in the spring because I gained some more grazing, so it gave me the opportunity to now start my own flock. Previously to this, for the last
Sorry, we're having some technical difficulties.
Hi, my name is Karl, as you know, and I am a first-generation small-scale sheep farmer. I run around 70 acres of farmland, of grassland. Quite a lot of that turned into hay during the summer. So I have contractors in, and I do a bit myself. It's all turned into small conventional bales, and I then store it up, and I sell it for the equine industry come the winter. I made around 900 bales this year.
The video is not working, so we'll just play the audio for yourself, which should give a bit of a background.
My name is Karl, as you know, and I am a first-generation small-scale sheep farmer. I run around 70 acres of farmland, of grassland. Quite a lot of that turned into hay during the summer. So I have contractors in, and I do a bit myself. It's all turned into small conventional bales, and I then store it up, and I sell it for the equine industry come the winter. I made around 900 bales this year. Crop was low, but hopefully a better production of hay next year. Along with that, I also run a flock of 42 shearlings of this year. So I only brought them back in the spring because I gained some more grazing, so it gave me the opportunity to now start my own flock. Previously to this, for the last 5 years, I've just bought store lambs in the winter. So the fields that I make hay from, I then graze during the winter for lamb boxes in the spring. I started 5 years ago with buying in 12 store lambs. I'm now up to 40 store lambs a year, and as I said, 42 shearlings, and one famous, if you like, ram that has featured on BBC Radio. As I said, I don't come from a farming background, but other than the fact that my grandparents have got a small holding of 12 acres that I don't farm, I have no farming in my closest of family members. So I've started up all on my own. Previously, from the age of 16, I was a chef. I'm trained and qualified as a chef, and I've also been up to the standard of head chef. So I worked my way all the way up in the industry. But about 2 years ago, I had enough of having a boss and working full-time in the catering industry. So I stepped away from that. I now run a gardening and farming business. So I garden sort of Monday to Friday in private gardens, and then normally the weekend, because I don't have that much farming to do every week, the weekends are left for farming. As I said, because I'm on my own, I pretty much farm a good 90% on my own. Family and friends can give us a hand every so often. Most of the day-to-day is done by myself. Yes, it's challenging, but I absolutely love it. If you can't tell by the smile on my face when I'm talking about it, I don't think I'll ever know that much. I love what I do. I really hope by the time you've heard Lauren and myself talk, you've seen our videos, it will encourage you to do something in the agriculture industry. It will give you a little bit more of an insight as to what the agriculture industry is, and prove to you that you do not have to come from a farming background if you want to get into agriculture. As long as you're passionate, hardworking, and willing, you will succeed in this industry. So yes, I hope you enjoy my short video of sort of what I get up to, the different aspects of what I get up to, and yeah, just really hope and I look forward to any questions at the end of it all that you might have for me. So yeah, thanks for watching.
Afternoon, everybody. So sorry you've not been able to see my video. I can assure you it's of lots of sheep running around and enjoying themselves. So if you just all imagine that from now on, that'd be great. Thanks, and I hope everybody that introduces us and you have a sort of understanding as to where we both come from. So I'm going to kick the questions off for Lauren. What is it like then working alongside your grandfather, father, and brother on a day-to-day basis?
Obviously, it's quite challenging working alongside everyone. We have obviously disagreements quite a lot, but then from that, then you learn a lot about different generations. So what may have been the practice for my granddad is completely different to how my brother and myself farm, which at times it can be stressful because he doesn't agree with new technologies coming into place. So I have the latest tractor. He wouldn't want to change the old systems, which, if anyone would ask, sticking to old methods can be interesting and good. However, there needs to be change when change happens, and that's when working alongside 3 generations, that's when a lot of problems could occur. But having family support, it's amazing. I have learned so much from them, and from that, you can't ever change learning from your own parents. You learn a lot from them growing up, and I obviously am learning my whole career through them.
Sounds fantastic.
So, Karl, so why was your decision for leaving the catering industry?
So yeah, it was a hard
today?
decision. It wasn't a decision that was taken lightly, but I love cooking and I love food, but I really wanted to sort of start at the beginning of the journey. So I swapped and went into farming because I wanted to be my own boss, and after working for 7 years for head chefs, I'd had enough of that. And like I said, the dream is to be at the other end and producing a product, because I understand from being at the beginning of it, or the end of it, sorry, that I know how important it is to consumers to know what's happened to it, where it's come from. So I felt that it was my time to go to the other end and start farming rather than cooking and eating it. And back to you. So where am I? What challenges do you face when entering the industry from a 9th generation perspective of it?
So, as I mentioned in my introduction, I am the first girl to be born into my family for 90 years on the David side, and that has come major problems, I see. So I've got 4 male cousins who all want to work on the farm, and being the girl, I'm seen as I can't do the physical side, which for me is quite difficult because I'm as passionate as farming as the 3 others, and that's where I have always seen it as a challenge to compete against them, which for me, I've now got to a point, I'm 19 years of age, and I realise I'm not going to be able to lift heavy machinery like themselves. So I am more office-based, so I do all the secretary work for the farm, through passporting to all the licenses, everything. Also during school, being a female and wanting to go into the agricultural industry, that was seen as quite a difficult thing. And you sit in talks and you hear about being a doctor, being lawyers, and how much money you'll earn. But I've never once sat in a careers presentation and heard about going into the agricultural industry. And I sat in interviews for future career aspects, and I was told you can only go into farming if you own a big farm which you will inherit one day. And for myself, that's a major problem because of traditional succession plans. It's seen my brother will be taking over complete inheritance of the farm. So I was always having to find a job career which is away from the physical farming, but I want to stay in the agricultural industry. So that's where I want to become a agricultural consultant.
Fantastic.
So, what challenges have you faced as a first generation
quite a lot, you could say. to acquiring to starting off, it's not a cheap industry to get into. So that's why I started with 12 and started off small. I think, yeah, I found getting hold of grass fairly all right. I'm really lucky where I am. I've sort of joined young farmers and spoken and harassed lots of people and sort of managed to get bits of grass that are probably most people wouldn't touch because it's no bigger than someone's lawn, but you have to start somewhere. I think the hardest challenge I've found is just finding somewhere to put things. You don't realize how often you need a barn to store hay or to put my tractor or to put livestock, trailers, anything. So that's probably my hardest challenge is I don't want to overstep the mark and just sort of try and find my way because, as I said, I don't have a farm. I don't have anywhere to put anything, and you sort of forget. I even forget day to day is sort of I can normally get hold of grass. I just can't get hold of putting things places, and yeah, that's probably my biggest challenge of and having the capital to buy. Sheep are not cheap. I wish they were. So it's sort of yeah, and another major thing is knowledge. So I probably most people would say I was mad. I left with no job to go to from a very successful in catering job to no knowledge in farming or really gardening. But you've got to follow what you love, I suppose. So, and I love doing it. So you just learn on the job, but there's plenty of challenges that comes with it. So how did your mum push you away from farming or not want you to go into the farming industry, and how has that affected you?
So my mum is from a non-farming background. She's from the middle of Cardiff, the Cardiff city centre, and she strongly believes that women shouldn't go into agriculture. And many arguments have occurred because of this. So when I was sitting my GCSEs, I was told to find a different interest to farming because all I'd done my entire life was work on the farm. And from that, she was trying to push me into business management degrees. She was trying to get me to go and look at anything other than agriculture. And that did cause many problems because she was trying to get me away from the farm, so I wasn't working on the farm as much as I was, just so I could find a different career path. After a lot of realisation, I think, she realised I was passionate for farming and finally letting me do a degree in agriculture. So that's where I put the business management and farming together, and that's where I found my degree as agriculture business management at Reading University.
Cool.
So where do you see yourself in 5 years' time?
What a question. I would like to see myself with at least 50% of my income from the farming side of my business. But I don't really plan. I didn't plan to have a breeding flock by this time this year. If you'd asked me that question last year, I would have said, nah, I won't be breeding. I quite like just buying stores and doing that side of the business. So I just sort of take each day as it comes and just grab every opportunity that comes my way. So yeah, that's the dream. The dream is to be probably realistically farming within 5 years, 50% of my income. Ideally a larger flock of sheep, maybe some cattle thrown in there, I'm not sure. But yeah, that's what I'd like to be. But then the last 2 years ago, I had around 12 acres of grassland. I've now got 70 acres. So who knows? Watch this space. But yeah, hopefully lots more sheep, lots more grass, and lots more haymaking would be good. So what would you say your biggest achievement so far in the agricultural industry and that sort of farming world?
So obviously being NFU Student Young Farmer Ambassador is an incredible achievement for myself. So I think it's actually all the work I've done in agriculture has finally been realised, and becoming one of the 11 ambassadors for this year, who are all incredible. I never saw myself as being seen as anything worthwhile. and that when you apply for jobs or apply for all these different schemes, you don't ever have faith in yourself. I think also I have been a member of Young Farmers since I've been 10-year-old, and I'm so dedicated for Young Farmers, and across the years I was youth forum chairman for my county. I was reserve junior member of the year in Wales Young Farmers. So just actually finally, when you put hard work in, you do get all the successes, and hopefully that'll happen in the future. You just
I'm sure it will.
Never know. But I think so. Should we go and answer the questions in the
Yes, that sounds really good. Shall I start? I'm going to have to go with Harriet's one as to why you chose sheep. Simply because they're amazing animals. I sort of picked them. It was a massive whim. I was haymaking, so I used to farm my grandparents, and then I used to look at the land and was like, I definitely can do more than just farm hay. So I spoke to a local sheep farmer, and that was on the Tuesday, and then by the Sunday I had 12 sheep. So yeah, I just think they're great animals. They help me for increasing my hay production as well, because they fertilize the fields during the winter, and then I have a higher yield of hay come the summer. And yeah, so yeah.
So, what Katie's question? Why? What made you decide agriculture at university? So for myself, I wanted to go to college. However, I also realised that from college, you wouldn't have got the qualifications which are seen as a degree level. And University of Reading is 9th in the world for the agricultural degree. And for me, that was a brain changer. And so I was like, if I'm going to do agriculture, I'm going to do it completely and go to university, get a degree, because you get more credited. And then the second part for you is, are you the first generation to study agriculture? So my brother studied rural land management at Cirencester University, or Rural Agriculture University. So that is along the agricultural lines. However, I am the first person to study a straight agricultural degree, which my dad went to college and studied agriculture, but that was 30 years ago. So
Brilliant. I'm going to answer Tim's question. What would one piece of advice you'd give to a young person keen to start out in farming? Probably mine would be just to ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. The motto I always sort of run by is, you're born knowing nothing. So don't feel bad that if you don't know something, just get out there, be prepared to talk to people. Believe it or not, people want to help you. I've found that massively coming from someone that's not in farming. And yeah, just enjoy it. It's an amazing industry to be in. But yeah, don't be scared to ask a question. There is no such thing as a stupid question. I ask lots of questions on a daily basis. So that would be my one piece of advice to getting into the farming industry.
So that's the end of our session, and we'll leave it there. Thank you very much for listening and joining.
Yeah, thank you everybody for coming.
Thank you very much.